Hello and welcome inside the Lancer Dome here in Belleville, Ontario, as we have the visiting Seneca Sting coming on to take the hometown Loyalist Lancers. My name's Stephen Schill, riding solo today with you. Appreciate if you're tuning in on the radio, watching at home, or just hanging around watching the VOD later on. And today it's going to be a fun matchup. The Loyalist Lancers are 7-2 on the season. My oh my, what an impressive season they've had. Seneca Sting, on the other hand, at 5-4, still looking pretty good, but wanting to try to scoop the W away from the Lancers. But of course, the Lancers at home. We got a full stadium here. It's going to be fun. Now, if we're looking to the previous matchup, the Lancers did win in Seneca 62-56. Jess Molixie and Grace Callahan dropping 12 points each. We'll see how they perform this one, with Tiana Leverage dropping 16 for Seneca at that time. The Loyalist bench way outscored Seneca Sting as we have the tip-off down the middle. It's going to be between DeVry and Lemaire. Lemaire ends up poking it away. It's going to be Grace Callahan who scoops it up first. Bowler isn't able to receive the pass, but Molixie's behind her, able to get it before it goes out of bounds. Let's see. Bounce passes to Callahan. Callahan driving under heavy pressure, trying to find Buller, but Buller was in motion during that, so Callahan ends up throwing behind her and going to go out of bounds. Going to be a throw in here for Shameen Brown. First year for the Sting is Jess Molixie trying to poke it away on that inbound, making things not too easy for Brown on this inbound, so there's going to be another attempt to go here. The referee's going to move Brown down to the far side of the Lancer bench as it was poked away. Waiting for the inbound still. Molixie wanting to try to poke it away if he can. Forrester on the low. But the inbound is good. Going to be to Mahalia Long with Buller guarding her. Pass to Mendeza Perez. Back to Mendoza Perez. Seneca going back and forth on the four corner here, trying to find an open shot, but Lancers with some great defensive effort. The shot goes up and is going to be missed on the side of the Sting. So great effort from the Lancers on the defensive end of the court. Lancers now to inbound. Brown's turn to try to stop the Lancers from inbounding, but they do so. Kaylee Lemaire now driving 3-on-2 as a quick backpedal. Makes out a 3-on-3 in the final seconds from Tiana Leverage. It's a great effort from Leverage. Lancers don't end up getting anything. Going to be Shameen Brown. Tries to pass it, ends up getting picked off by Buller. A little bit of an interception, taking it all the way off the basket and in. So Priya Buller setting things off for the Lancers just over 60 seconds into this one. The Lancers are up 2-0. Seneca now trying to get out of their own zone, pass it up. Mahalia Long trying to find an opening, does so under the basket to Mendoza Perez, who quickly passes it off to Leverage, but Leverage just misses what looks to be an easy layup, but Buller is there on the rebound, under heavy pressure, just spinning, making some room now to Callahan. Still just 2-0 Lancers. Callahan trying to take it all the way if possible, tries to swing it to Molixie under the basket, but there's going to be a kicked ball called by the referee. And I think I just heard a timeout call here from Felix J., the third-year coach from Seneca Sting, not liking the way things look early. So we're going to take a quick timeout here as the Lancers are up 2-0 here on OCAA women's basketball action on 91X CJLX FM. Welcome back inside Loyalist College here in Belleville, Ontario. Seneca almost inbounded the ball, but the crowd assisted in that, saying it was a kick ball. So Lancers end up getting it back. It's going to be Forrester now to Lemaire, who bobbles the pass. Leverage picks it up, so count that as a steal. And tosses ahead to Brown. Brown now trying to find an opening. Whips it on the inside, but Buller running up and down the court, able to strip that one away. Another steal for Priya Buller, playing both sides of the floor here. Now it's Callahan going to get a foul call there against Mahalia Long. Mahalia Long in her second year from North York with the Seneca Sting. Also something to note as well, Daniela Myers wearing the number 8 jersey in her 4th year in the OCAA, was playing with the Lancers last year. Interesting to see her in a different color. And if you're watching the game, Lancers are wearing the white jersey and Seneca Sting wearing the traditional red as Callahan goes to the line. First shot is up and good. So that'll be 3-0 for the Lancers. Seneca Sting with 1 foul on the afternoon. Grace Callahan again averaging 13.8 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game. Also making that second shot, so 2 for 2 at the line, 2.9 assists per game, and 2.8 steals per game. So Callahan being an absolute powerhouse and the key player to watch for the Lancers. Seneca now, as the Lancers drop 4-zip. It's Brown, guarded by Forrester. We're going to have a foul call on the play that Forrester is not a fan of, so that'll be the first for Loyalist in this matchup. 7:52 left to play in the first. See Shameen Brown, inbound to Mendoza Perez. Excuse me, it's Brown now. Gets it right back now. Mendoza Perez goes for that 3. Going to be off the basket. Rebound scooped up there from DeVries. Again, standing at 5'10". 1 inch shorter than Kaylee Lemaire at 5'11". Again, watching the board action here shall be interesting, but ultimately Seneca now for an inbound. Going to be leverage under the basket, tries to go for the shot, a little bit too heavy. Buller goes for the rebound. Teammate Callahan goes behind her and snags it. Now Callahan the other way, sends it to Forrester, who's wide open for a 3. And off the backboard, Gwen Forrester! Lancers up 7-0. Again, as we started at the beginning of the show, was a relatively close affair as the inbound gets stripped off. From Kaylee Lemaire gives it to Priya Buller, and it's going to be a little bit short. Hit the basket underneath and go out of bounds. So Seneca is going to be making a substitution. And Coach Ajay from Seneca is not happy with what he's seeing. So we are seeing a substitution. I didn't notice a moment ago, but Cheryl Chow did check in, maybe off of that timeout, but going to get pulled out for Mahalia Long. So Seneca is able to inbound it. Back to Long here, goes into Lemaire, no foul call. DeVries. Seneca swinging it, it's Brown now driving to the basket, tries to go for the layup on the free throw line. It does so, a little bit of a floater, if you will. So Seneca gets on the board for their first points of the game. 7-2, Lancers leading this. 6 minutes, 56 seconds left to play as the Lancers look to have a breakaway. It's going to be Jess Molixi wide open for 3. Misses the shot, but Forrester there for the rebound for an easy layup. And Lancers looking hot early. Brown now bringing it up the court for Seneca, almost losing it. Lancers bench calling, saying that might have passed out of bounds, but Gwen Forrester just pokes that away from some lazy ball handling for an easy layup. And wow, Seneca, coach taking another timeout here. The Sting are falling apart. It's all Lancers. You're listening to OCAA women's basketball action here on 91X CJLX FM. Welcome back inside the arena here as the Lancers looking mighty fine after that heated timeout. We'll see if the Seneca Sting are able to come up with anything right now, as they do seem struggling on all fronts. As Long with it, trying to drop a pass to Dawn Kress. Now it's going to be given to DeVries. Goes up for the shot, misses on it, but looks like we had 2 blocks almost back-to-back there. We credit both of them to Callahan. A little bit of a pump fake on that first one, but either way, Seneca's going to inbound. Lancers ahead 11-2. Donceris inbounds. Going to be DeVries. Over to Donceris. Again, Donceris coming off of the bench, I believe, to leverage. And again, the Lancers defense is just too much to handle for the Sting. And coming into this one, again, we have some pretty solid players for the Sting. Again, Tiana Leverage averaging at 9.2 points per game, 9.8 rebounds per game, and shooting at 52.5% on the field goal. Lancers have kept Leverage at a standstill. See if her and Brown, Shamir the other one, at 8.9 points per game to get something going. It's Forrester here with 12 on the shot clock. Gives it to Lemaire against Leverage. Hard to say, it looks like Lemaire stepped out of bounds there. Referee does call that, so Seneca Sting get a breather for just a second. Is he going to inbound? It'll be Mahalia Long to do so. Quickly head to Mendoza-Perez. Drops it to Donceris. Donceris now guarded by Malixi. Callahan gets around Callahan with a nice little pass, but from having to pivot from Callahan, the pass was a little off the mark, so much so that it misses the target, goes out of bounds. Lancers now get a freebie going the other way, in which they just gave up. The Buller to Forrester. Forrester against DeVries. A little bit of a size mismatch here. But Callahan trying to come around for assistance, does so, driving to the basket, Leverage and DeVries there, but Callahan says, I don't care, gonna put up the shot, gonna miss it. Callahan hits the floor on that shot. Seneca now the other way. Mendoza-Perez against Malixi, and Malixi gets her hands on that. And getting called for a travel is Seneca. So Lancers, I don't know if I'm crazy, but this is an unbelievable defensive effort coming from Loyalist. It looked like a moment ago that the Lancers are going to have some substitution, but Buller turns it over for Long and under the basket. Mahalia Long. It's another 2 points for Seneca, so they got 4 here in the first quarter with the Lancers having 11. See Danielia Myers checking in momentarily for the Sting, and Brooklyn White and Ventanilla checking in a momentary, but Gwen Forrester wanted to put up another triple on the board before so. DeVries. Leverage. Donceris. Buller being very aggressive here on the defensive side, trying to poke that ball away. And again, a moment ago, Forrester just simply taking it from the Seneca player a moment ago. Buller having to put a little bit extra effort into that one, but getting called on the foul. So we'll see the substitutions we were talking about moments ago. So again, Danielia Myers, the former Lancer, checking in. So on Loyalist side, seeing exactly who is going to come in. It looks like it's just going to be one, Dana Zashi Ventanilla. She had a great performance as well in the previous round with the Sting at Seneca. So Long to Donceris. Donceris driving, drops it to Mendoza-Perez, who goes for the shot. Too wide to the left, picked up by Leverage under the basket. Donceris is there to get it. Shot goes off the backboard but misses, and oh my goodness. They were fighting over the ball. And oh my goodness, it's so good to see Donceris getting up after that, because it looked like she hit her head very hard off the court here. Crowd had a little bit of an ooh during that, but wow. Very, very good to see her immediately get up there. Sounded and looked much worse than it was apparently. She's going to be staying into the game. Lancers up 14-4. It's going to be White to inbound. But again, the Lancers bench has been phenomenal this year. And something fun to watch. No matter what point in the game it is, as Malixi goes up for the shot, going to be missed, but Leverage picks it up. Now Myers swings it to Long, but the pass too quick for Myers, almost behind Long, so it goes off her hand, and she's trying to reach for that and out of bounds, so Seneca with another turnover. See Ventanilla. 4 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in this first quarter, excuse me. It's Forrester trying to find an opening to Ventanilla, who's guarded quite heavily by Mendoza-Perez, but able to break through. Lemaire with a screen, giving up Ventanilla for a wide open three, and she does not miss those. Donceris and Mendoza Perez going back and forth, and the Lancers side of the court is trying to get it over. Eventually does so. Mahalia Long now to Myers. Myers thinks about the shot. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Goes under the basket to Leverage and able to go up and under Kaylee Lemaire for the point. So Seneca taking a little bit, but starting to come to. Lancers ahead 17-6. Forrester driving under heavy pressure. Going to be called on a foul. I think that's going to be against Danelia Myers. And Coach Felix Ajay calling for his players to come over and chat with them briefly here. So there's going to be no shots on the play. Referee says wasn't in the shooting motion at the time. So what was thought to be some free throws is just going to be an inbound for Loyalist, and Ventimiglia having to scramble over to make herself available to inbound this ball. Forrester, the only Lancer in motion as of right now, goes to her, and oh my goodness, Leverage there. I was getting her elbow to the head of Forrester, but no call on the play. A double team against Forrester, but oh my goodness, she breaks away from it. Ventimiglia now on the far side, 6 on the shot clock, knowing they need to do something. Poked away for a second. Ventimiglia trying to keep it inbounds and not able to do so. Kind of a back and forth there with Jess Malixi in the corner trying to find an opening with the shot clock running out. So ultimately, it's going to be Seneca on the inbound. Going to have some substitutions as well. Shameen Brown, one of the rookies that's also cracking the starting lineup for the Sting. Going to check back in for Mahalia Long. We'll also see Ayana Tomlinson checking in for the Lancers, as well as Nina Anderson. Nina Anderson being one of the rookies for the Lancers as well. Fun to see her on the court. Leverage to Myers, goes for the shot just outside the free throw line and able to get that. Nice little jumper there. Lancers ahead 17-8. Steam to stay with it. Callahan against Leverage. Anderson under the basket calling for it. Drops the first pass, but able to pick it up. Goes for the shot. He gets fouled on the play, so it's going to be 2 free throws coming up for Nina Anderson. Anderson on the first shot. That's going to be up and good. And the second shot is up and good as well. So 2 for 2 at the line from Nina Anderson. Quick look down at the stats. Seneca Sting 0 for 2 at the 3. Sorry, except the shooting 3. The Lancers have 3 of 5 right now, shooting 60%. So Lancers getting those threes to go. Seneca not so much so. But we'll see Seneca here with possession. Mendoza Perez drops it off to Myers. Myers goes for that 3. A little bit short. And between the rim and the backboard on the right side of the basket. But Callahan taking it all the way up. Ayana Tomlinson now going for the 3. Referee calls a foul on it. It's going to erupt if that went in, but is not the case. Seneca Sting also with 8 turnovers here early in this first quarter, with the Lancers only committing 5. So something to note. And over on the stat line, Shameen Brown with 2 points, Danelia Myers with 2, and Tiana Leverage with 2, and Mahalia Long with 2. So Seneca, everyone's getting on the board, really, which is good, but now they got to see what they can do as Ayana Tomlinson misses the first free throw. Over on the side of the Lancers, Gwen Forrester, holy smoke, stat line is crazy as Ayana Tomlinson goes 1 for 2 at the line with that made basket. Forrester with 10 points, 4 for 4, a field goal, 2 for 2, and the 3-point attempts. Insane to watch. As we'll see a little bit of a scramble up, and then Seneca gives it over down the middle. And it looks like there's going to be an elbowing call here against Callahan and have a little bit of a face-to-face action between Mendoza and Callahan. Both of them having a little bit of an extra spirit going into this one. Again, if you're just joining us late, Lancers did start off the game going up 11-2. Now the score is 20-8. Still in favor of Loyalists, waiting for the call from the referee and the in-house announcer. But Callahan also picking up 2 rebounds on this, and for the side of the Sting, Tiana Leverage and only putting up 2 points right now, expecting a lot more from her, and we'll likely see it, but also snagging 3 rebounds, and the only Sting with a rebound outside of Hannah DeVries, who as well has 3, so kind of the dynamic duo on that front. First shot is missed. from Mendoza Perez, so ends up getting some free throws on that. And again, we're not in foul trouble, so I'm not sure if there was a technical, excuse me, I missed what the in-house announcer said, but you're looking at the Sting as the second free throw is good from Mendoza Perez. Sting at 4 team fouls in this first, and Lancers at 3. Again, when you hit 5, you go into the line pretty much no matter what. As the inbound happens for the Sting now as they get it back. Going to be Donceris driving. Anderson tries poking it away. As Ventimiglia is there, but the referee is going to call a foul. So that goes against the Lancers here, and that's going to be against Dana Zassi Ventimiglia. Didn't think there was too much on there, but a foul nonetheless. As DeVries under the basket gets poked away, but Seneca ends up getting it back in leverage, throwing up a basket there, so 4 points on the afternoon. 1:50 left to play in the first. Callahan drops it to Ventimiglia, who goes for the 3. It's going to be a miss, but Leverage grabs that, and Brooklyn White tries taking it, but didn't call on the foul here, which both of them were trying to go for the rebound. Didn't think there was anything extra on that. But didn't seem like there was too many foul calls here early, but referees breaking out their whistle. Maybe a little bit of passion after that dust up at center court a moment ago. So Tiana Leverage going to be at the free throw line here, now trying to add to our 4 points on the evening. The first shot is off the mark. Lancers ahead 20-11. It also does put the Lancers in foul trouble here with just under 2 minutes remaining. Leverage in her 4th year from Scarborough. And the second shot is good. White did step forward on that, but no extra call on that. She's waiting to get on that inbound. Looks like she was leaning in just a little bit. So Callahan, Ventimiglia looking like she's going to go for the screen, but just there to help for a passing angle. Coles Tomlinson for the screen, does get so. Ventimiglia under heavy pressure. Ends up stepping on the ball as it was poked away. I want to say credit that to Donceris. So good initial awareness there from Ventimiglia. The Callahan needed help, but tried to bite off a little bit more than she could chew, but Tomlinson steals the ball and gets taken away from Donceris. So back-to-back steals there, right in front of us here in the booth. It'll be Ventimiglia to inbound. 1:21 left to play. Lancers up 20-12. Side referee saying white ball, but then the referee's now saying that it was Seneca ball, so we have a little bit of confusion on the front. So Seneca somehow ends up with it after all that. Donceris. It's a laser pass from Brown, but going to be off the mark, a little bit too wide. And Callahan approaching that 1 minute mark. Callahan. Tomlinson setting a screen and gets it against Leverage. Callahan trying to take it all the way, goes up for a layup, and a hook shot, if you will. It's not going to be any good, but Leverage and Callahan both on the floor trying to fight for that ball. Going to be given a jump. We'll see Danelia Myers checking in for Hannah DeVries. DeVries, Myers, and Leverage, all 4th-year players. Looking over the side at the Lancers, only Jess Malixi is the only one with more experience than all of them at 5 years. With the Lancers, as Leverage picks it off. As the Lancers were trying to go for a pass down to the corner. The shot goes up from Mendoza Perez. It's going to be off the mark. Myers trying to go for the rebound against Tomlinson, but going to step out of bounds. 45.4 seconds left in this first quarter. Back and forth. Lancers starting off mightily strong. Seneca fighting their way back into this one. This is Ventimiglia and the Lancers with possession. 18 on the shot clock. Should be about 2 possessions left in this game. This is White driving. Going for a floater. Off the mark. Picked up by Brown on the rebound for the Sting. To Donceris, who quickly sends it back to Brown. Brown with momentum. Driving. Loses the basket. And Leverage ends up tripping Callahan. Not intending by any means. But quick plays from Seneca. Ends up not creating any chance. Lancers weren't able to capitalize in their previous possession, but 24 seconds on the game clock and 24 seconds on the shot clock. I don't know if I've seen that one before. So, final possession of the game if the Lancers take this one slowly. It's Anderson to White. Is guarded heavier by Don Saris. Going to be called on the foul is Don Saris. So that'll put the Sting in foul trouble as well as the Lancers, but ultimately Brooklyn White here at the line. The first shot is good. And the second shot is good as well. Brooklyn White dropping 10 points in their previous matchup, as well as 8 rebounds. As you see, the Seneca Sting now ended up with a chance. Going to be Brown for 3. Oh, it looks so good, and then popped out last second. So with 3.7 seconds on the clock, Lancers to inbound. Grass trying to tell Callahan just to throw it. We'll see what ends up ultimately happening. Callahan still needing to inbound. Finds White. White knows she needs to just chuck it here with 1 second left from half court. A little bit off the mark. By a little bit, I mean a lot. But nonetheless, Lancers here are leading in this first quarter. Going into the second, 22-12. We'll be back with OCAA women's basketball action. You're listening to 91X CJLX FM. Welcome back inside the Lancer Dome. This is OCAA women's basketball action. It's the visiting Seneca Sting taking on the hometown Loyalist Lancers. Sting coming in this one 5-4, and Loyalist at an impressive 7-2. And Jess Malixi strips it away down the court. Throws up for a rebound, not going to get it. Mahalia Long grabs the rebound for a second, but then it pops out of her hands and out of bounds. So Lancers are going to inbound here. Kind of a strange turn of events with Charlotte Farrell coming in for the Lancers to see her first action of this game. As Forrester is the only one in motion. Now Tomlinson and some other Lancers move. Ends up going to Tomlinson on the far corner. The shot is off the mark. Coming from Charlotte Farrell. The Lancers now. The Sting. Mendoza Perez to Myers. On the three, drops it ahead to Leverage. Leverage under the basket, goes up for the shot. Going to be off the mark. Goes off the backboard and the rim and out. Farrell guarded it with the rebound. Farrell passes ahead to Tomlinson. Tomlinson gives it right back to Farrell, who turns it over. The ball gets poked up in the air, but Brown gets it, and then Farrell pokes it away again. Got to see the video replay on all of this. But a lot of poking and prodding, and the ball not really staying still with an individual. So Seneca is going to inbound. The Lancers are ahead 22-12. This is Brown. Now calling for leverage, drops it. Leverage to Mendoza Perez. Head to Myers. Brown. Side to pivot, go for the shot off the front of the basket, but it takes a nifty little hop and goes in. Farrell. And the Lancers. Farrell. Myers setting up a screen underneath. Finds Maliksi on the corner, thinks about a three, decides against it, driving to the basket now, trying to find an opening of any sorts, goes to Lemaire, goes for the jump shot, going to be off the mark as Myers is there to poke away, making sure nobody ends up with the rebound except her team. And now the other way, a quick pass from Brown to Leverage, trying to have that connection while they're in motion under the basket. A little bit of miscommunication. Leverage not able to receive that. So it goes out, and Lancers to inbound. Farrell now taking over point guard duties, it looks like here early in the second quarter. Callahan driving, is up for the layup, misses on the first, able to get her own rebound, but Lemaire gets the rebound on the second, and ultimately a foul call is made by the referee here against Seneca. Going to be Cheryl Chow checking in for Seneca. Going to be Mahalia Long who checks out. That's going to be Myers' second foul of this game as Kaylee Lemaire misses the free throw. First one of two. Lemaire's second shot is good. Been kind of a quiet second period here. We'll see if the team's benches and the players really find that invigoration that they had in the first. Only 2 minutes gone in the second. So Maliksi is knocked over there, but Myers takes to the basket, ends up not getting it, but teammate Leverage gets the rebound and ultimately swings out to Brown. It goes for the shot, misses it. Myers gets that rebound. Now Brown with another attempt off the backboard to the side of the basket and gets it. Lynch is still ahead, but Seneca doing what they can, closing that gap. It's 23-16. Favor of Loyalist. Looks like Brooklyn White is going to be checking back in here, and there's going to be a kick ball here against Leverage. So Forrester, it was looking like she was going to inbound the ball, but having some communication between the referee. Not exactly sure if they're arguing who's going to be inbounding the ball, but it's going to be Forrester. And our referee is trying to give a barrier for what Brown can and cannot do. In terms of guarding the inbound from Forrester, it's going to be Lemaire now against Myers. Lemaire driving to the basket. Myers heavily under her. Going to be a foul call on the play. Chow saying it wasn't her, but Myers was draping over Lemaire running into that. So if that is the case, that'll be a third foul here against Myers, and we'll see Lemaire back at the line. Going 1 for 2 with the previous free throw attempt, making the first on this one. So Lancers now 24-16. And make it 25. As Lemaire goes 2 for 2 at that line. Again, watching Myers here at 3 fouls. If you hit 5, you're out. But she's staying in this one is Lemaire. Whoa! Ends up taking out the referee on a trip there. As originally it looked like a great takeaway, but I don't even know how to describe that. But now a 3-man team here against Forrester. Ultimately a foul call is going to be made from the referee that was taken out a moment ago from Lemaire. Both teams having some risky passes throughout this evening. That's caused for some interesting shenanigans going on. But with that said, Lancers is going to inbound. Maliksi. 7:10 left to go in this first quarter. Brown against Chow, drops it to Maliksi. Maliksi taking it all the way. I think she got poked somewhere on that as the shot doesn't go near the basket. Going to be off the low backboard. But Seneca gets the rebound now, driving to the basket. Chow throws it up. Going to be a missed shot. Lance is trying to get that rebound, does so in Forrester. Forrester now setting Brooklyn White ahead. He's on a 1-on-4 with Maliksi the closest. Lancer goes up for the shot, maybe a little bit ill-advised, but no other room to go while stopping and pivoting. Seneca snags the rebound. Now it's Brown, driving as Forrester, trying to dribble her way out of it, but Lemaire steals it now in a 2-on-2 situation. Lemaire, Maliksi. Maliksi gets it, goes for the three. Going to be short. Might have been poked there from Mendoza Perez. Chow now trying to pass, but goes off White. And that looked like that was going to end up being a turnover, but somehow White gets called on the foul. It's a little bit of a shocker. It looked like she was just there to put her hand up to try to get the ball as it came out of her hand as Chow was going for the pass. But either way, checking down on the stat line, Shameen Brown with 6 points, Tiana Leverage with 5 over on the side of the Lances. Gwen Forrester still leading the way with 10, and Ventimiglia with 3. We're going to have a timeout on the floor. Lances ahead, 25-16. You're listening to OCAA women's basketball action here on 91X, CJLX FM. Welcome back inside the Lancer Dome. 6:20 left to go in this first half of play. Mahalia long inbound. Shameen Brown over to Leverage. Leverage driving to the basket. But Charlotte Farrell there able to block that pass. So it's going to be an inbound for the Sting. Long going again. Going to be Leverage now. Callahan trying to poke it away. Unable to do so. Leverage under heavy pressure. But the referee calling a foul here. Again, there doesn't seem like there's too much going on, but my oh my, the amount of fouls we've been having over the last little bit seems a little bit excessive. But checking over on the team comparisons, Sting having 15 turnovers to the Lancers 8. His Leverage's first free throw goes up and is looking good. Rolls around the rim and ends up going out. But from the field, Lancers shooting 26%, 35% over the side on the Sting. But again, they started very quiet early. Lancers had a bunch of steals earlier in this first half. As the Lancers go for that rebound, and the Sting are going to get called on a foul here. So here early in the second quarter, ton of fouls getting called. As Callahan inbounds it. The scoreboard's right. It's 3 team fouls so far this quarter. 4 team fouls for the Sting and 2 for the Lancers. As White tries keeping a pass in, that looked like he was going to go out. So no basket. Referee says ball over to the Sting side of things. But looking at the three-point side of things, Sting is 0-4, so they're not able to hit too strongly, but Lancers have 3 and 8, so shooting just under 40% on that regard, but shooting 83% from the free throw line, so mighty strong on that, where the Sting is at 33%, shooting 2 of 6. See Mahalia Long, champion of the inbound. 25-16 Lancers in the lead. Going to be DeVries on the far side. We're going to have another foul call on the play. So that's going to be the 7th in 5 minutes. This one going up against Kaylee Lemaire. Then Sarah's to Brown. Goes up for the shot off the front of the basket. Lemaire grabs the rebound, passes it to Callahan. Ventimiglia off the bench over to Maliksi. Maliksi to Brooklyn White, who sees the opening, goes for the 3, and sheesh! Clean from Brooklyn White. Lancers, again, slowing down a little bit offensively. Seemed like they were just running on all cylinders in this first quarter, but slowing down a little bit in the second. Needing to get the engines going. Brooklyn White trying to assist in that as Mahalia Long now under the basket. Goes up, gonna end up rolling out, but Leverage unable to secure that rebound. So I believe Lancers to inbound. It's gonna be off Callahan or White on that, as Leverage was there fighting for it. It might have been Callahan. So Seneca does get that inbound. It's going to be Leverage. Over to DeVries. Passes to Brown in motion there. I mean, the 8th foul call. That one, I think, is going against Callahan, using her body. Try to keep Brown out. And that's going to be her 2nd of the game. But again, 8 fouls in this 2nd quarter. The next foul for either team is going to put them in foul trouble. First shot from Brown is no good, rims out. Waiting for Brown's 2nd attempt at the line here, and it is good. Looking back to that first quarter, Loyal scoring 22 points to Seneca's 12, and here in this 2nd quarter, Seneca has scored 4, and Loyalist only scoring 3 so far, so a much, much quieter realm offensively. But still over 5 minutes to play, just under. Callahan, a nifty little move, getting up that shot, but misses. Credit the rebound to Hannah DeVries. Donceres now against Ventanilla, pokes that away. Will be Sting to inbound. I'll see Nina Anderson coming back in for the Lancers. Started briefly in the first quarter. Lancers had 28-17. Donceres on the inbound to Long. Long trying to give it back to Donceres, does so. Now DeVries giving the screen. Donceres, I think Ventanilla poked that away for a second. Lemaire's there, but Donceres gets it. Realizes Mux is going to strip it away. So just tosses it in the air. Brooklyn White ends up grabbing it for the Lancers. Ventanilla thinks about the 3. She was open for a second. Now Malixi, 15 on the shot clock. White, wide open. Trying to go for another free 3-throw shot. Doesn't end up getting it. So now in motion the other way. Long, blocked by Brooklyn White under the basket. And Leverage and White on the floor trying to hold it. DeVries jumping into that action. Going to be a jump ball here, but great defensive effort from the Lancers. We'll see another sort of substitution on the side of the Sting, bringing in one of the first-year players, Eloia. Ventanilla against Eloia. Now to White. Didn't have too many options on that one. Decides to go to Anderson, who's right next to her, and Brown's forced to try to keep that inbound, so it almost looked like it was going to be a turnover for Seneca, but the Lancers end up staying with it. But the shot clock did reset ultimately, and Ventanilla from 3. Oh! Rims out of the basket. Donceres grabs it, tries to whip it ahead to Brown. Anderson turned around, almost comes up with it, but Brown does take that all the way and ultimately for the basket, but good awareness from Anderson. He's turn around during that pass. He's almost able to strip it away. But Ventanilla now going to dribble that out of bounds, off target. Not sure what happened there between her and Malixi. But 3:19 to go. Donceres on the inbound. Brown the only one closest. So Shameen Brown gets it. Now having to take it out of the Lancers zone. Anderson trying to guard it. Brown breaks away, but ends up stripping it away as Brown got a little bit lazy with the ball handle here in a one-on-one action. Donceres tries to take the charge and does so. Anderson kind of casually going into this, and that's kind of a repeated pattern. Any kind of turnover or in that play there with Anderson, you got to go into it with a little bit more strength and determination, because that one felt like Anderson was kind of passively going into it, wanting to keep that strength up no matter what. That possession on the plays, always play with purpose. His Leverage now. Just over 3 minutes to go. Malixi strips it away, another turnover. Ventanilla under the basket, Leverage there with the block, but gets called on the foul. Wow. So that'll be Ventanilla here to serve us up some free throws. We're going to see Priya Bowler checking in. We're going to see Donceres also checked out for the Sting. Of course, we are in foul trouble. This is the second quarter. We could just sum it up to foul upon foul upon foul upon foul. As Ventanilla misses the first. We'll see Priya Bowler checking in for the Lancers if this is made, and is so. We'll see Ventanilla out for Bowler as the Lancers stand up, give some handshakes to Ventanilla on her way out. So LOA on the inbound to Seneca. It's pretty much their entire team on the side of the Lancers, making sure they're able to get it out of their own zone. Anderson trying to keep Brown in that corner with Malixia, and Brown's going to almost turn it over, and they end up doing so. As we saw Mendoza-Perez trying to keep that in, weren't able to do so. Malixia now to Lemaire. Lemaire finds Anderson. Anderson with an open three. Wow! Nina Anderson! Easy does it. Lancers finding that rhythm offensively, as we talked about a moment ago. White hitting that three, kind of opening the door here for Lancers with some confidence. As Mendoza-Perez goes for the shot, leverage, gets the rebound for Seneca. Still not able to come up with it. Brooklyn White gets that rebound. Now the Lancers in motion down the floor. Brooklyn White trying to slow things down just a little. Just over 2 minutes left to play. White to Buller. Lemaire calling it, but choosing to go to Anderson. Anderson to Lemaire side by side under the basket here. Anderson finds Malixi, who goes up for the three. It's going to be wide there. Lemaire under the basket fighting with DeVria. And there's going to be a jump ball call. Danelia Myers checking in for the Sting, as well as Ayanna Tomlinson for the Lancers. As Myers to inbound, goes to Brown. Anderson guarding with Tomlinson creeping up behind. Brown does break through. Mendoza-Perez driving. Lemaire goes for a big block, ends up not getting it, but the shot's missed, and Lemaire ends up with the rebound nonetheless, driving all the way to the basket, tries to go up for the layup, not going to be any good. So quick turnover as the ball ends up going out of bounds off Malixi, who swats it away, making sure it's not an easy play. But on the rebound front, Grace Callahan with 6 for the Lancers, 3 for Lemaire, and 3 for Forrester. As Myers brings it up the floor for the Sting. Now it's going to be Brown. A minute 25 to go. Leverage under the basket against Lemaire. Breaks away for a second and off the backboard and in. Leverage and another basket to her night. And over on the side of Seneca, Leverage with 6 rebounds and DeVrie with 7. Those are the pair leading the way. Tomlinson with it, with Malixi. Finds Anderson in the corner, thinks about the three, decides to take it. It's going to be too heavy, but Malixi ends up with the rebound. Gives it to Tomlinson, 10 on the shot clock. Buller now out on the key. Anderson to Tomlinson, who has a wide open shot. Going to go off the front of the board, but Malixi is there for a nice little floated jump shot. As we're just under 60 seconds left to play. Lancers ahead 34-21. Brown to Leverage. Lemaire trying to scoop it away, does so. Lemaire there with Anderson next to her, but decides to take it herself off the backboard and in. 26 seconds remain in this first quarter. Clock didn't stop on that, was a little weird. There's a tangle up behind at center court, but Myers trying to take it all the way. Lemaire's going to get called on a foul, which is 17 seconds remaining. So that's second for Kaylee Lemaire, as the Lancers lead 36-21. And Myers on that first free throw is good. Kind of crazy again when we look at it. The previous matchup, Lancers took it 62-56. The previous matchup, but right now, going into the second half, could be ending 36-23 as Myers makes that basket, but just a few seconds left. We're going to have a timeout on the floor. Lancers ahead, 36-23. We'll take a quick break and be right back. You're listening to OCAA Women's Basketball Action here on 91X CJLX FM. Welcome back inside the Lancer Dome. Just 16 seconds remaining. We'll see what happens. Molixi gets ahead to Lemaire. 10 left. Lemaire goes up for the shot. It's going to be off the mark. Myers tries grabbing it, but think that ended up going off a Lancer player. Very close call, but Brown on the inbound. And Buller there pokes it away and ends up going off the Seneca player there in interesting fashion. So Anderson to inbound with 5.8 on the shot clock. Lancers lead 36-23. Going to be picked off at the front from LOA. Drops it into Mendoza. Perez under the basket, puts it up, and wow, what a way to finish that first quarter. Seneca, things were looking dire early. They're trying to put a good little ribbon on this first half and seeing what they can do in the second. Lancers leading this one 36-25. We'll be back with second half action when we're there. This is OCAA women's basketball action here on 91X CJLX FM.
I think it's back on. Can you check? I don't know. It was running quite well.
Welcome back inside the Lancerdome. My name is Stephen Schill here in Belleville, Ontario, as we have the visiting Seneca Sting with a record of 5-4 going up against the hometown Lancers, who have the record of 7-2, looking mighty fine early in the season and mighty fine in this one. 36-25 for the Lancers as they kick off this game. Going to be, I think, tipped, so Lancers going to inbound, but going back in the first quarter, Lancers outscored the Sting at 22-12 and then did so in the second, but it was a much, much closer margin at 14-13. So ultimately, again, now at 36-25, a half to go. Going to be Buller. It's poked away, but Lemaire ends up getting it with leverage there. Molixi under the basket, tries to go for the shot. Going to be no good. Brown ends up coming up with it. Leverage and Brown, kind of that dynamic duo for this Sting. Points, rebounds, and the whole shebang. Don Serres taking it all the way. I think Buller poked it for a second, but Leverage grabbed the rebound, goes up for the shot, misses it. Lemaire ends up with it. Lemaire pausing. Trying to give it to Molixi, but Leverage there to act, tosses it ahead to Brown. Brown trying to take it all the way, but Buller pokes the ball away. So Sting to inbound. But again, something we noticed in the first half of this is the ball control. Some passes being off the mark a little bit, slowing down the game just a little. Not to have these turnovers from both squads would do wonders. As the handoff to Long gets poked away from Buller, so kills a little bit of time. A 14 on the shot clock. Don Serres on the inbound for the Sting. Long. Bullard almost got a hand on it, but doesn't. Drops it back to Don Serres. Don Serres against Molixi. This is to Myers. Myers driving to the basket. Throwing up the shot and in. And past two Lancers. Had their first bucket of the second half. Buller to Forrester. To Callahan. Long under the basket. Brown pokes it away. So Myers now on the other end. They're not going to be able to make that shot, but the referee's going to call a foul after that play. Not necessarily a foul. I don't know if the ball went out of bounds, excuse me. That's what exactly happened on that. Molixi to Buller. Head to Lemaire under the basket. Heavy pressure there. Swings it out to the key. Forrester. Off the rim. Long. Not sure what happened there, but looked like she just took a seat. But Long with it now. Pass that was high up there. Brown quickly tried to move with the ball before having possession, I think, and turns it over. Lemaire now to Forrester for three. He'll be off the mark just a little. Rebound, credit to Shameen Brown. Seneca now going the other way. Another turnover as the pass was too far ahead. Intended for Mahalia Long, as we'll see. Cheryl Chow checking in for Long. Again, as we mentioned, right off the start of the second half, the passes for both squads, got to be careful about those turnovers. Being very prevalent here early. Seneca with 23 turnovers overall. As Jess Molixi goes up for the shot, a little wide. Leverage comes up with it, drops it on Serres. Lancers with 13 turnovers overall. The pass from Brown trying to find Myers. A little bit off the mark again. I am not sure what is going on, but Seneca having way too many ill-advised turnovers off of nothing. Buller to Forrester. Callahan. Bounce pass to Buller. Buller trying to find an opening. Decides against going to Lemaire. His leverage was there. Ready to try to intercept the pass. Callahan with 8 on the shot clock. Spins, tries to get around. Shots up, no good, but there's going to be a foul call here against Leverage. So that'll send Callahan to the line. First shot is good from Callahan. Callahan averaging a double-double a game absolute powerhouse. Going 2 for 2 at the line. Chow quickly goes for the inbound. Goes to Brown. To Leverage. Leverage. Well, she could have drove to the basket, but decided to slow it down just a little bit. Passes it to Brown. Brown bobbling the pass, but ends up coming up with a Chow quickly to Don Saris, but the pass was way too high from Don Saris. Didn't seem like she was under too much pressure. But the presence of Buller, you never know. So it'll be the 25 turnovers now for the side of the Sting. Forrester. The right side of the key, closest to the fans here. And Loyalist College, Callahan with that pass. Trying to do a hook shot. It's off the mark. Leverage grabbing that rebound. Leverage being a monster on that rebounding front is Brown with it. He poked away for a second, but able to re-handle. Myers taking a moment to Chow. Chow driving. Went for a fadeaway shot. Leverage comes up with it. Puts a shot up and hits the floor, but neither end up going in. Callahan, now the other way. Trying to get a screen from Malixi. Now double team against Callahan. Callahan needing some assistance. Lemaire makes himself available. Now with it, 7 on the shot clock. Callahan just stays flat-footed, goes up for the shot. A little bit off the mark, but now quickly the other way. Buller, the only Lancer back, as well as he's coming to help, is Don Saris. Tries to go for a hook shot of her own. Looks like Don Saris might have done a little bit of an extra jab on that, looking a little bit slow coming off the wall. Again, it is very, very shallow here within the Lancer Dome. Not much room to run. Gonna having to stop quickly or just run into the wall. That's what ended up happening there, but Don Saris gonna be up for some free throws. Sting shooting 50% from the line in this match. Crowd getting into it to try to disrupt Don Saris, but to no avail. It's going to be the first point of the game for Don Saris on that first basket. And count the second. But Don Saris also credited with an assist and 2 rebounds. The perfect at the line. Callahan against Chow. Malixi trying to set a screen. Goes the opposite way of the screen. Callahan throws up a high shot off the mark. Myers gets that rebound. Seneca making a substitution as well. Gill to Mampos. In on this, wearing the number 5 jersey. But it's Don Saris here is going to get a chance to inbound here. As the Lancers committing a foul on that. It's going to be Callahan's third. So immediately we see Kaylee Lemaire stepping up to come check in for that. Also seeing Brooklyn White checking in a moment ago. With Leverage from that inbound. Back to Don Saris, but kind of a quick play that ends up resulting in another turnover. Lancers now. Forrester, a little bit too heavy of a shot. Lemaire gets the basket. Going to be White. Swings it to Forrester. Forrester puts it up. And Gwen Forrester! Forrester absolutely lights out in that first quarter. Felt like the offensive game was slowing down a little bit in that second quarter. But seeing that 3 from Forrester, I believe that'll bring her to 13 points on the evening. Chow to Leverage. 6 on the shot clock, Now to 4. Leverage puts up the shot. A big block from Lemaire. The ref calls a foul on that block. So that'll send Leverage to shoot some free throws. As the gym goes a little quiet, as we're going to see Brown and Long checking in for this thing here momentarily. So Chow and Chuampos. It's going to be Don Saris. Chuampos staying in, but Don Saris checking out. With Tiana Leverage. So Lancers leading 41-29. Leverage puts up the shot. It's going to be good. Closing that mark. Now trailing by 11. Second shot from Leverage. Comes off. the basket. White brings it up the floor. Malixi now quickly swings to Anderson, who goes for the three in the corner and goes off the side of the backboard, but somehow kind of took a wafty angle, and Kaylee Lemaire is there for the rebound and puts the basket up and in. Now leverage the other way. Myers gets it back, shots up, no good. Leverage picking up another rebound, goes up on her own rebound and scores the bucket. Over the side of Leverage. I think that's going to be her 10th rebound of the game, which is crazy. Leverage now at 8 points on the game. 9 rebounds in this game, being a game high for anyone out on the floor, but Seneca on the other way, missing the first, Loyalist on the other way, missing the first shot. Lemaire gets the rebound. White ends up with it, trying to go for another shot, no good. Leverage on the other side of the court now, tries to go up, doesn't get the shot off. Long gets it. Tampouse on the side, goes for the three, no good. Ventimiglia now for the Lancers as they lead 43-32. Nothing happening in that last two possessions for either squad. White in the corner. Didn't even think about the three. Immediately looked to pass. Gives it back to Malixi. White now decides to go with that three. A little bit short, but Anderson, it was almost like a pass perfectly to Anderson under the basket. But it was a shot, and Anderson puts that up and in, no problem. 45-32. Lancers lead. Ventimiglia all the way up the floor, trying to keep that away from Gail Tumampos. He's trying to bring it up, but does so. So it's over the line. Seneca going to make a couple of substitutions, as well as the Lancers. Too many to name, but nonetheless, just under 3 minutes to play in this third quarter. Give it to Brown. Guarded by Forrester. Forrester trying to stay with her all the way to the basket. Nina Anderson there. Great defensive positioning. Shot's going to be a miss. They're going to go off the Seneca player. Lancers to inbound. Ventimiglia. To Malixi, who ends up getting it stripped away from LOA. Takes that up and in for Seneca. Right off the bench, making a good impact is Ahi. L-O-A-He. Anderson is trying to quickly send that to White, but ends up getting stripped. Seneca now in possession. Lancers needing to cool down just a little bit. Having too many turnovers last few moments as the shot from Brown is off the mark, beyond the key. Ventimiglia to Forrester. Forrester goes up that three. Oh, off the mark. Brown with the rebound. Now in transition. Ventimiglia scoops that. Lancers get that turnover. Now on the other side, Brooklyn White tries going up for that layoff. We're going to be off the mark, a little bit too soft. It's just under the basket. And Malixi trying to cut off that pass and does so. So Seneca now going to have to inbound. Seneca goes up for the shot, going to be no good. From Don Saris, Farrell ends up getting down to Forrester in the corner. Some bobbling of possession. Malixi now with it with an open three. Angle looked good, but off the mark. Farrell grabs that rebound. 3 Seneca players under that. Callahan quickly throws up that shot, knowing those are going to go after her right afterwards, but Lance is still in possession here. Farrell puts up the shot. Callahan tries to get the rebound. Donceris grabs a rebound, but then Malixi's there off of a tip, I think, from Forrester. So Lancers end up getting it back. Minute left to play. Callahan goes for a wide shot to Forrester in the three, and wow, what a pass. Callahan, Forrester, bucket. Loe to Long. Donceres trying to pivot, finding an opening. Tips a Lancer player, but Long ends up with it. First shot's no good, gets her own rebound on the second. Going to be a foul against the Lancers. So Long, the Lancers don't feel too bad about making that foul as the first free throw is missed, but Lancers are almost in foul trouble as Callahan, that's her fourth. Long makes the second, to 1 for 2 on that possession, but it's also at 14 fouls, so, 30 seconds left, not a whole lot to worry about per se in that sense, but Callahan not being available in the fourth, potentially it would be bad. Ventimiglia turns it over. LOA on the basket is good. 15 seconds remaining. Buller looking like she wants to check in if possible, but only 10 seconds left. Doubt that's going to happen unless something happens here. Charlotte Farrell going for that three, going to be off the mark. Brooklyn White with the rebound, trying to come up with it. Catches an elbow there on DeVries. Players screaming for the athletic therapist, so it does look like there's going to be a cut on that play. So pausing here for a minute as the grounds crew comes out and checks on that. So it does look like that was a pretty harsh elbow DeVries took on the face there. So 3.6 seconds remaining. Looks like Leanna Hong going to be checking in for DeVries. We'll see if DeVries comes back for this fourth quarter. Long on the inbound, tries to whip it ahead to Donceris. Donceris needs to just chuck it, but Donceris just wasn't able to keep it inbound and on that. So 2.7 seconds Lancers have to work with. Forrester is going to be the one to inbound, so we'll see who they get it to. It's White, tosses it ahead to Malixi under the basket, throws it. Oh! Jess Malixi! Wow! What an end to this third quarter. Holy smokes. Lancers lead 50-37. You're listening to OCAA Women's Basketball Action. We'll be back with fourth quarter action momentarily here on 91X CJ LX FM. Welcome back inside the Lansdome. Lancers trying to get their 8th win on the season, leading 50-37 here against the visiting Seneca Sting. And the Lancers start things off here. Going to be poked away from Seneca down in their own zen. So Lancers now inbound. Priya Buller finds White. White driving around. Buller ends up getting blocked there from LOA. And Long now in transition the other way. Slowing down just for a second. LOA looking like she's going to set up a screen. Decides not to, so Long need to do something. Gives it to LOA. Now to Leverage. Under the basket, trying to drive against Forrester. Throws up the shot. Going to be off the mark. Forrester gets the own rebound. Good defensive effort there. The Lancer, number 10. I almost saw a strip away there from Nadia Gonzalez. We don't believe we've seen in this game, but if you were just joining in late, Hannah DeVries just took an elbow towards the end of that third quarter. So on the bench here, but DeVries, huge rebounding presence for Seneca. Going to be sorely missed if she can't come back into this one, but she is on the bench. We'll see if anything transpires. But White on the free throw line decided to drive to the basket, off the backboard and in. Wow. What an aggressive, determined play there from White. Now Long the other way on a 1-on-3 situation, taking it all the way, and last second gets tripped. I don't think intentional by any means, but nonetheless still a foul. So that is going to go against Brooklyn White, and so that's her third. Again, watching on Grace Callahan, who has, I think, 4 team fouls, if I remember correctly from the previous quarter. Long on the first free throw is no good. Long coming up on the next one. Lancers again 52-37. And the second one is good. So again, checking out each quarter. The first one, Lancers led it 22-12. In the second, Lancers again won it 14-13. And in that third, Lancers again won it 14-12. See what happens here as center court. Leverage strips it away from Ayanna Tomlinson to Daniela Myers. It's a former Lancer. Nobody's able to get the basket, but a whole bunch of rebounds are happening. Leverage snakes it, and then in the corner, almost running into the crowd there. Going to be out of bounds. But again, checking over the turnover, something we've been pretty harsh on just because it's been so noticeable. But the Sting with 31 on this game, Lancers with 18. The Lancers scoring 28 points off of those turnovers. With total rebounds, Sting are leading that 40 to the Lancers 32. Long on the inbound. Myers swings it out. Myers ends up getting it back, and a foul is going to be called here against Myers I was going to say Lemaire or White, but that one looked like he was going against White, and so that's going to be the 4th foul for Lemaire. So things are going to get really interesting here if Lemaire and Callahan are limited to minutes or having to get taken out of this game due to those fouls. But Myers misses the first free throw attempt. 8:35 left to go in this game. 52-38 Lancers lead. Lancers now picking up 2 fouls here early. That second shot is no good. So we'll see Charlotte Farrell checking in for the Lancers. Buller now bringing up the floor. Back to White. White driving all the way. Deciding to pause off as 3 Seneca players were around it. They're off to Buller. Looked really good on motion, but ends up ribbing out. Seneca snagged the rebound. Seneca needing to get going offensively here. Long with it, driving to the basket, off the backboard and good. White. See if the Lancers try to slow down or try to put their feet on the gas pedal. White off the screen from Tomlinson. Hook shot, good. 54-40 in favor of the Lancers, ahead by 14. Long to the Sting. Eloy to Leverage. Goes straight back to Long, goes for the 3. Off the mark initially, took a funky backboard bounce, but somehow ends up in front of the basket on a miss. Myers gets it, Sting still in possession. Shot's gonna get blocked from Gonzalez. of the Sting, and a jump ball ultimately. Is the decider of that play. And we're going to have a timeout on the floor from the side of the Lancers. Up 14 with 7:30 left to go, but they're wanting to talk things over to make sure they don't have this lead slip away. You're listening to OCAA women's basketball action here on 91X CJLX FM. Welcome back inside the Lancer Dome. Once again, my name is Steven Schill. Thank you so much, whether you are here out driving, whether you're watching the video afterwards on YouTube. Appreciate you tuning in to the Loyalist Lancers this season. Excited to see what the playoff picture ultimately looks like. Seneca is not able to get a shot off with their very minimal time to do so. Lancers up 54-40 in this final fourth quarter action. So Buller having some free range to bring it up the court. Swings it back to White. Against Long. White. Dribbling, really taking her time, trying to get fancy with it, almost losing it, gives it to Forrester, ultimately turning it over there. Not sure if White was trying to show Long to dribble, but that was interesting. And Gonzalez goes up for the shot. It's going to be no good, but there was a foul, I think, called on the play beforehand, at least a travel of some sort. So we'll see Maliksi checking in. Forrester is going to check out. We'll also see Callahan coming in. So Buller, 7 minutes left in this one to Maliksi. Driving. Off the backboard and in. Jess Maliksi, the Lancers' fifth-year player. Showing what she can do to try to close this one out. Lancers ahead by 16. Leverage back to Long. Goes off Tomlinson, and Tomlinson ends up getting the ball after it went past her. Don't know how that happened. But Buller now driving to the basket. Going to be to Maliksi. Maliksi pauses instead of going for that three to Callahan. Callahan taking it all the way, bounces under the basket. Trying to grab that rebound. Snags it, but she's falling, tries to chuck it out. To make sure somebody could end up with it, but nobody does. She's going to have an inbound from Seneca off that turnover. Long. For Seneca, again, needing to have that offensive engine running, but the jump shot is no good. Callahan takes it all the way. Last second, throws it to Maliksi, who swings it out in front to Buller from the three line. Bria Buller puts that one up and in. Lancers feeling comfortable late here in the fourth. Gonzalez driving, getting around the block of Tomlinson, but ultimately missing. Callahan trying to do a laser shot, ends up at the feet of Ayanna Tomlinson. So a quick turnover, as Callahan says, my bad. Clap hands. Gonzalez checking in from LOA. And we also have seen Hannah DeVries checking back into this one. I didn't notice that a moment ago. But from the previous elbow, back into things, lovely to see. DeVries now. Pass to Gonzalez. Gonzalez goes Referee holds out to 2. It's going to be a miss. Tomlinson trying to fight for that rebound on the floor with Molixi and Donceres. Referee goes and calls a jump ball. Cheryl Chow checking in for Mahalia Long. Buller. And the Lancers. Donceres keeping that defensive pressure. That's going to be Farrell. Farrell driving, pivoting. Gives it to Tomlinson. Tomlinson losing the dribble there, but Farrell is able to hold it back. Buller now goes for that shot, but gets fouled from behind as she's going. So that'll be the first foul of the quarter for the Sting. So one thing to note, though, in this fourth quarter, Sting's been very, very careful not to commit any fouls. The Lancers, potentially, off Buller's free throws here, are now up by 20 as she makes the first. 60-40 in favor of Loyalist. The second one is good, so make it 21. Again, in the previous matchup, Lancers won it against Seneca 62-56, but the big difference maker in that game was the Lancers bench. As Farrell strips that away from Donceres. Swings it to Molixi, swings it back to Buller, quickly ahead to Callahan, and they get tangled up. As Leverage gets that steal, but back to DeVries. Shot goes up from Gonzalez on the 3. It's going to be wide. Buller trying to grab that rebound, but Chow poking it away from her. So we'll see some substitutions. Leanna Hong and Mahalia Long. Checking in for the Sting, as well as Kaylee Lemaire and Dana Zishi Ventanilla for the Lancers. So Coach Caleb Hugh, Trustin, Callahan, and Lemaire not to commit any fouls as we got just over 4 minutes remaining. Ventanilla. White. To Lemaire, under the basket. Trying to find an opening, dribbles it to the recently checked in Leanna Hong. So Lancers turn it over, and the other way, Mahalia Long gets the point. Ventanilla passes ahead to Callahan. Callahan driving. Bucket's no good. Lemaire with the rebound, tries to go back. Shot misses. Seneca to inbound. Cheryl Chow. Pass it ahead to Hannah DeVries. Long to Chow. Chow now with it. Back to Long. Gives it back to Chow. Neither of them seem to want to hold possession of that ball. Giving it a Leverage. 9 on the shot clock. Back to Long. Long driving. Pausing. Going up for that shot. No good. Callahan. Credit the rebound as Lemaire was there too. He could have credited to either of them, but Lemaire gives it up to Callahan. Callahan throwing up the shot, trying to go off the backboard. Maybe a miss. Seneca on the offensive now. Long, 3 minutes to go. Hong, Leverage. Back to Long. Long shoots. Off the rim and out. Callahan snags that rebound. Gonna be White, trying to see an opening. There's looking more for the opening versus taking the shot themselves. Callahan calling for it under the basket, unguarded, up and in. Easy does it. Rechecking the stat line, Gwen Forrester so far leading this one with 16 points. Still the mighty first half, getting 10. Kind of crazy performance out of Forrester. But Brooklyn White with 9 points, Priya Buller with 7, Nina Anderson 7, and Kaylee Lemaire with 7 as well. Grace Callahan only at 6, typically averaging a double-double, so a little surprise on that front. Under the basket, it's going to be Lemaire, puts that one up and in. You're going to see another substitution from both sets of teams here. As it's 65-42 with 2 minutes left. Try to let everybody end up playing this and get a look. DeVries under the basket, double teamed, ultimately going to get a foul call. She goes up for the shot. Excuse me, get called on that travel. I thought there was a foul call on that, but it's going to be a travel call as both teams pretty much substitute their entire rosters. But checking over on the side of the Sting, Tiana Leverage ending with 10 points. Or sorry, I shouldn't say ending as we still have 2 minutes left to go, but Tiana Leverage with 10 points and 13 rebounds. Next closest on points was Shameen Brown with 9. Also credit that with 7 rebounds. Mahaley along with 8 points and 5 rebounds as well. As we see LOA stripping that from Ventimiglia and going up for the basket. 1:38 left to play. Lynch is ahead 65-44. Buller to Anderson. Drops it to Ventimiglia. Ventimiglia driving to the basket, drops it out to Tomlinson for the jump shot. A little bit short, goes off the front of the rim. Tomlinson ends up poking it away to give the rebound to Buller. But the referee blows the whistle dead. I think Ventimiglia ends up rolling her ankle on that one, and she goes running to the athletic therapist. So didn't notice anything on that play at first glance, but athletic therapist staff looking over her right now. Minute 19. Anderson, 10 on the shot clock. To Keller Hanna. Pivoting again. Nice dribble moves here from Keller Hanna and get called on the foul after. It looks like we have another injury on the play. LOA, she rolled her ankle on that, trying to stay with it. Going to see Cindy Kajay checking in for Gwen Forrester. Hannah Keller on the first free throw is going to be no good. Second one is up, and it is good. So 1 for 2 at the line for Hannah Keller. LOA here back to DeVries. Under the basket. Tomlinson trying to keep her hands up there to prevent the shot, does so. But Seneca ends up swinging around, and eventually for the layup is Leanna Hong. Buller, 50 seconds remaining to Anderson. Pass it ahead to Tomlinson, dribbles, goes up for the shot, gonna be committed on a foul here. Leia Gillespie. Solanches with 42.4 seconds left, scores 66-46, pretty much wrapped up here. Just waiting for the clock to end. Do have the men's game coming up afterwards, of course. If you are local to the Quinte region and you want to come out to a game, love to have you, whether it's volleyball or basketball. Especially if we host a playoff game, it will be an electric atmosphere here. Love to see you come out. These games are free. So we do have another injury, so LOA is, in fact, from that moment ago. Looking like she was trying to stick with it momentarily, but looked like the pain was too much to handle. Getting looked at by the Sting athletic therapist staff. So free throw again wasn't good, but now Sting with it. It's going to be Shaw to Gonzalez. Gonzalez dribbling, passes to Gillespie. Swinging around. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Shot's going to miss. Tomlinson grabs the rebound. Buller with it. No shot clock or anything. Buller's probably just going to run out the clock. Now, we have had it before where Lancer took it and ended up scoring the basket. Not that they intended to do so, but Gonzalez was trying to steal from her, and Hannah Keller is just trying to hold it. So, interesting end to this. Always such the case, but that's going to do it as the Lancers improve to 8-2. Well, the Seneca Sting fall to 5-5 ultimately with a score of 66-46. My name is Stephen Schill. Thank you so much for tuning in to this OCAA women's basketball action. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you a bit later. This is 91X CJ LX FM.